So you see live on custom streaming?
Yes.
That means we're live. Hooray. Hey, everybody. Happy Good Friday. Happy Passover. I am here with Thomas Ballard, a hydrogeologist who happened to live stream his church service. Hey, Thomas. How you doing?
Hi, good evening. Yeah, I guess it's even or wherever you are, whatever time of the day it is wherever you are. So greetings.
It's evening for me.
Evening for
Look,
me too.
okay, Thomas. So tell us how you got into live streaming your church service.
Well, I go to a pretty small church. I mean, a really small church. And there's a lot of well, let's just say technological neophytes, and going back to 2020 when the lockdown, well, actually 2021 when the lockdowns were occurring. I guess I'm trying to remember back to, I think it was towards the end of 2021 or 2020 and into 2021 when the lockdowns were occurring. We didn't have church services, and everybody was saying, well, just, oh, well, we'll just, not have church services. So I basically said, well, I can make that happen. We can figure out how to make this happen kind of on a shoestring budget. You don't need a big AV department, and as we get into this too, what we're going to be discussing about is not something like John MacArthur is doing at Grace Community Church in Los Angeles, where he's got his own AV department and probably hundreds of volunteers, and they're producing this big slick Hollywood production. We're talking real small churches, of less than 100 people, but the technology is really there in our grasp now to do that we didn't used to have. So instead of just I mean, church is really important, and I'm here in Tennessee. We're right in the middle of the Bible Belt, so church is a big deal. I mean, we go to church, Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday evening. So that's what you do, and it's a social event, as well as we're getting together to worship God, and it's an important part of our lives. So when you take that away, like we had with COVID, then it becomes a big deal, and it's removing a big part of people's lives, and they just need to hear the word, and so I said, I deal with this stuff. We can figure out how to make this happen, and and so we did. We put it together, and we weren't in the church. The pastor was at his house, and we had some people that would do singing either live or recorded, and I put together some graphics and the lyrics to the songs, and we set up on a particular platform, and I'll talk about a little bit more, and how we
Wait, I
did
got, I
that.
got, I got to ask you a question. So
Sure.
when, so when you guys couldn't go to church, and who did you talk to about saying when you raise your hand and says, "I can do this, I can make this happen"? Who
I
were you
talked
talking to?
I talked to the pastor directly,
Oh, okay.
and then we went back to the elders, and I threw it out there to the pastors, and we went to the elders, and they all agreed, and so it was pretty, very small church. So it's, you don't have to have a big formal process, but there was like four elders that are in the church, and then the pastors. So so that was kind of how it came about. I just volunteered, and I was the one that was doing adult Sunday school too. So I was teaching adult Sunday school. So they all know me, and so it was, and I'd helped out with various technical problems in the past. So kind of a Luddite type type folks, a lot, not really technologically savvy, and like I said, they were just going to pass and just not have church for however long. We said, no, we can't let this happen. So there's a, so that's kind of how I started. And I said, I can figure out how to make this happen. And we did. So,
I like that. It's like you came in and saved the day. They were ready to close. It seems like, or just not let people receive the word. So yeah, you saved the day.
right. Yeah. Yeah. You can't let that happen. People need to get the, I mean, eh, that's a big part. That's what you're doing on Sundays, is you're getting the word and getting your inspiration. And if you don't have that, and that's just, That's tough. Now we can't do those Sunday after church breakfasts and stuff we do every now and then. That we haven't figured out how to do that virtually yet. But the service, yeah, we can do that. So that was kind of how we started it out, and I just stepped forward and I've talked to some other people and seen some other churches, and they've done it in some different ways. Some just did audio. Some would just do quick Zoom calls, and so a lot of people stepped up and figured out how to make it happen. So God's word will not be denied. So we just got it all figured out how to get it out there.
So there were people singing. Did they have their own cameras and you picked up their live cast feed, or did they pre-record themselves singing and send you a video?
We did both, and we initially started off with people doing it live, and it did not work quite as well as doing it recorded, just because one of the challenges of doing everything remote, because you got the pastor from his house and this person from their house and that person from their house, and the quality of the internet connection is not always reliable. So it was a little easier for the singing, especially, to record it and then just play the recording. And
Okay.
and then and then what I could do at that point is I could show them record, and then I could put the lyrics up and time the lyrics to the music, and it actually worked out pretty good, and you got better quality because I have a pretty high end internet connection with gigabit fiber, and a lot of people did not have that. So that was one thing one kind of adjustment we made midstream to really keep the quality up there to where it was, but still, it was still kind of folksy because just because you got the pastor freezing up because he had a pretty low quality internet connection. And so some days, how the internet is, some days you would just freeze up a lot, and you just got to go with the flow. That's how it works.
How many times did you let it go where they were doing it all live before you say, we need to pre-record this? Because I was thinking you were going to say something about latency, because that bothers me. The latency when people or the voices goes before their mouths move, or their mouth move before the words come out. I think that is so weird. So how long did you
And
go live before?
yeah, latency really occurs when you have a separate connection into your computer from the camera and the microphone, and there's a little bit of delay, and so you get out of sync. And then what happens is it goes out over the internet now, and what you're seeing on your screen, there can be, when I do my live show for my Groundwater Talk Live on Thursdays, it I've timed it, and generally I get between what I'm seeing myself doing and when it's showing up on like YouTube or LinkedIn, it'll be 8, 9, 10 seconds difference. But there's
That's a
two
lot.
different things you're looking at there. Yeah, you're looking at the delay between when you record, what you're seeing in your camera, and when it's getting to its destination and coming back to you, and then latency is really the delay between the video and the audio, and that's caused by separate connections with the camera and the video, and just it takes a little longer for the electrons to move through the wire, and just enough that you get a little bit out of sync. And um, there are certain things you can do, like I'm on a Mac, so I use Ecamm Live, and you can actually, if you can figure out what your latency is, you can actually adjust the audio feed to match up the feed on the camera. And so what I'll use is one of those little clapper soundboards, and then I will so I'll go in and do a test broadcast and see how it's working. I'll use the clapper so that I get the waveform. When I'm looking at the audio, I'm looking at the waveform, and then I can match it up with where I'm clapping on the clapboard, and then the waveform that shows that noise, that sharp noise on the audio, and then I can kind of move them around if I'm recording. But if you're doing live, then you have to go back and you have to make an adjustment. So something like Ecamm Live and vMix may do this also. You can actually adjust and delay the audio or the video so that they will match up if you know what your latency is. So there are ways to kind of correct for that, and it can be a lot of work to figure that out because you got to run some tests and it just it can be challenging. but but it does drive me crazy too when I'm seeing people's mouths move and and you get that just even a 1 second delay, even a half a second delay really throws things off kilter. So yeah, you can correct for that. However, it becomes a little more challenging if I'm here, I can fix myself, but then I got somebody else coming in on a different internet connection, and they have a crummy internet connection, and their latency is different than mine, and so there's just only so much you can actually correct on that stuff, and you just kind of got to go with it. That's really what it comes down to. So,
So, you had mentioned that you put in some words and pictures. How did you
yeah,
do that? What were you using for that? Was that Ecamm?
I used well. What I was using for my live video is I was using Live Webinar, and um, I use Ecamm Live because I'm on a Mac for doing most of my streaming, but and you can use Ecamm Live and bring it into something like Live Webinar. I chose not to do that to try to keep it relatively simple, and because I had multiple feeds coming in from different people, I really wanted to keep the CPU load down as much as possible. So I chose not to do that. Uh, but I was using Live Webinar, and Live Webinars is a great tool. And I for something like that, I really prefer Live Webinar and it's kind of not a well-known platform. I picked it up on an AppSumo deal and got a lifetime deal on it. And kind of maxed out on my credits, and so but it's not as well known as Zoom, but it has some really interesting, unique features. Like it comes with a storage area, and you can actually load up all your videos and your pictures and your lyrics and stuff ahead of time, and load them in there in order, and you have little tabs across the top of your screen. So I can go through and I can say, okay, we're bringing the pastor on to do the intro, and I click that tab. I'll play some intro music and some videos, and then I'll click the intro and bring him in, and then it's almost like a little studio, right there. You're just clicking the tabs, and then okay, we're moving to our first song, so we click over here and we bring up the lyrics and or a video if you're playing that, and then back to the pastor, we click that tab, and then we got somebody coming on singing, and then we click that tab. So you just go through, and whether it's recorded or whether you're bringing in somebody else's camera, you can set all that up ahead of time and just click on the tab in order, and just click 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 click, and so it's kind of from what I can see, Live Webinar is pretty unique in that capability. So for a really small church service, running it as a one man AV crew, it's you really need that backstop, and so Live Webinar was a great tool for that, and it worked good. I really have no complaints. Their technical support is good, so it's a perfect tool for something like that, and So I really preferred that over using something like Zoom. Now everybody's familiar with Zoom, but Zoom just doesn't have some of the capabilities that Live Webinar has, so it's so Live Webinar was the tool we really used for streaming out to the people.
Okay, I got a few questions. I want to share my screen. So
Okay.
I'm taking you to OneStream Live, and I'm going to ask you about this because I know you have a OneStream Live also. If I'm using a
Mhm.
live webinar instead of Zoom, can I use the custom RTMP? Can I put in a server URL? Can I put in a stream key and name it live webinar church service?
Yes, you can do that, and you got to set that up if you're in like Ecamm Live.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, you would get the RTMP key, the custom RTMP key, and put that into Ecamm Live. If you're using Live Webinar, it's the same type of thing. Live Webinar has that capability, so you got to have the stream key, and that is where you put in there with the stream key, and that allows you to stream into, for instance, if you're going OneStream Live and going to multiple different platforms on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever, then you can use that custom RTMP, come into OneStream Live, and then you can broadcast out to multiple destinations through OneStream. So it works really well. But the key is having that custom RTMP stream key that you put in, and that basically serves it up to OneStream, and then OneStream, and it actually works well because OneStream then takes the load and they distribute it off to multiple platforms. So they're running it off of their servers. So you're kind of unloading some of your CPU onto OneStream Live by using that custom RTMP key. So it's really a good tool, and I've used a number of them. OneStream is a great tool, and I like it. So, and I'm the only thing I really haven't used it for in the past is they haven't had LinkedIn Live native, but now they do. So I will,
Yes,
yeah,
we are
yay.
streaming there right now.
Exactly. So I will be using OneStream Live a lot more now because it's a great tool, and that was the only thing that was really holding me back. So I'm really happy that they got that finally worked out. LinkedIn is notoriously difficult to work with and slow to approve those things, but and they can be quirky, but they got it done. So I will definitely be using OneStream Live now for my multi-stream shows.
Yeah, I love that. Before they had the custom live stream, they we had to use the custom live stream, and I would sometimes forget to go back to LinkedIn and push the go live button. So I am
Yeah.
very happy that it is a native integration now. So yay!
Yeah. Yeah. They could do it before, but there's a lot more steps involved, and you couldn't set it up in advance. It had to be just like 30 minutes before, and so it's kind of like this big fire drill to get it done. And so yeah, this makes it so much easier. So big congratulations to OneStream Live for making that happen.
Yeah, I've had well, this is my third event of the day, and I've live
Wow.
streamed two of them. And hopefully, LinkedIn hasn't gotten tired of me yet, but having that native integration has made it so much easier because I set all of this up last night.
Yep.
I got to share my screen again. I got to show you what I did.
Okay.
So I am in OneStream Live, and you see this 22 accounts?
Hmm.
All of them went live today. Every
Wow.
last one of them.
That's
Yeah.
See, and
So
you could, even if you had the capability to do multi-streaming built into your computer, your CPU would never handle that many live streams. And I know I'm serious about that. You would bog down with one or two, or with two or three, and so 22. there's no way you can do that. So you're offloading everything to OneStream Live servers, and you're able to stream into 22 different destinations. I can't
Yep.
even think of 22 definite destinations
Well,
I would stream to, but so
I myself, I do not have 22 social accounts. What I did is I added a team member.
ah,
And so me and El Kersey, we streamed her event today
mhm,
and went to third-party streaming tools. I have Zoom hooked up to this. Well, you know what? I did not use Zoom. I used AirMeet today. So we streamed this live via AirMeet. All of these, every last one of these, you see where it says live now, all of these were
yeah,
saying live.
wow.
Um, this is my favorite part because Fizza had to tell me about this year. You put in your title, you put in your description, and make sure this button is checked. Use stream title, description, and privacy for all broadcasts, and you don't have to go through every last one of these.
That is a nice feature that I didn't know was there because I don't I typically stream it for my stuff. I'll typically stream into YouTube and LinkedIn. Rarely do I stream into Facebook just because my audience for what I do as a consultant really is not on Facebook. So I'm streaming into two different destinations. So that and setting all those up individually is a lot of work. So 22 of them, wow.
Yeah,
But that having that capability to just copy everything over, didn't know that was there. So
yeah,
yeah, another kudo
real
to
convenient.
OneStream. Yeah, I'm really, like I say, other than the fact that LinkedIn is very important to me, and I had to use some other tools to get in there in the past. OneStream, I've really been impressed with. I think you and I both got that through an AppSumo deal and a lifetime deal, and it's been one of those really nice AppSumo deals where they have really continued to develop the platform, and it's turned into a really nice product. I will say that, and I picked up some other live streaming tools that I won't mention, but OneStream has really fleshed out their offering and really built it out so that it's a great tool, and I think they're probably going to be around for quite a while, just based on the fact that they got some pretty solid features and offering through OneStream Live. So
You
I
know,
like
I
it.
picked up other live streaming tools too, but I use OneStream because they have the better customer service. It's like they make me feel like they care that I succeed with my streaming, and the others had better things to do. So,
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that makes a huge difference to me when I have little patience anymore for a lot of these software tools you get, and they have poor customer service. I have little patience for that. I'll cancel, or if it's an AppSumo deal, I'll refund it, and that's one of the things I'm looking for is good customer service. It's rare in the world today. I will tell you that. Good customer service is hard to find. And
yeah.
so I value, and I have more patience for even working through some technical glitches if they have good customer service and they're working for you. So I'll cut them some slack if they got good tech support.
Yeah. What I like is they not only give me a document, they give me the answer first and then they give me a document to read. So if I'm talking to
Yeah.
them, I that's what I want. I want the answer. I don't want to look it up. I'm talking to you because I want you to tell me the answer.
Exactly. Walk me through it because
Yes.
obviously, most of us are, a little bit geeky here, and so we can usually figure out the simple stuff. So it's and so if we're running into problems, it's usually going to require a little bit more hand holding and getting into the into the tech swamp a little bit.
Yeah. One time I couldn't get in my account and they're like, "Did you clear your cache yet?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, let me do that." And then sure enough, it opened. So sometimes it
Yeah,
can be
there
simple,
there you
but
go.
yeah, I still just want the answer.
Well, yeah. Well, and sometimes stuff you don't think about, clearing your cache. I mean, that's something that should be on your list, but it's kind of like, you forget sometimes. You're trying so many solutions that and that's the challenge. I mean, anybody that thinks you're going to get on all the time and do live stream every week or multiple times a week and never have problems is out of their mind. And it's really a matter of how you deal with the problems when you're live. You lose sound. I did an entire show one time. I didn't have any sound, and I got down towards the end, and somebody logged on and said, "Hey, you don't have any sound." It's got, oh, and it's just kind of like, so, I ran the same show, a while later, and just other technical glitches. You're going to have them. And you gotta just expect that and roll with the punches, and doing live streaming on a church service where you have multiple people coming in and stuff. I guarantee you're going to have problems. And so it's really, if you're kind of like in a small church, it's all on me. I was it, so I got to be figuring out this, why doesn't the pastor have any sound? And I've had to, sometimes there was a server glitch one time. We had a presentation for an organization I was involved with, and it was, we had on a guest and we lost his sound, and the only thing we could do was log out and log back in because it turned out to be a Zoom call issue, um, and so we lost a lot of audience. A lot of people didn't log back on, but it was the only thing we could do to fix it. And just kind of like we go with the flow. And what I did in that circumstance then is we just recorded it, and I posted the recording up there. And everybody that had registered for that, I sent them a link to the recording and said, "Hey, this was an interesting presentation. If you want to watch it, here's the link to the recording," and you go from there. And I've and then you get some unexplained glitches sometimes. I've had people, I do a lot of online classes, and I've had people log on and they can't see or they can't hear. And you got 20 people in this class, and there's one person that's having a technical glitch. It's probably on their end, and most certainly is on their end. And so, but you can't hold up the entire class while you're trying to work through this one person. So you just say, "Look, I'll send you the recording, or, and I'll do a one-on-one with you for, at some point, and we'll talk through whatever your situation is, and you just kind of do that because it's just a matter of going with the flow. You will have problems if you're live streaming. You will have technical glitches you're going to have to deal with, and it's just a matter of not panicking. Like, no sound there.
My mic was off.
Yeah,
My 7-year-old keeps trying to come in and get on camera. He's been trying to tell you hi for the longest time, but
hey.
so live streaming with El Kersey today. One person could not get on the air meet, so we moved to Zoom, and my camera would not come on. But I was only producing. I did not need to be on camera, and that was the wildest thing. But if I needed to be, I couldn't. I probably would have had to use my phone, and I still could have used OneStream with my phone. So yay for that.
Oh,
I want to shout out David Olson, who says that's right. LinkedIn made a huge difference, and he was happy that I hooked up 22 social accounts with OneStream,
that,
and he
that
says that he
that's
loves
amazing.
OneStream too, and that they've come
Yeah.
so far.
All right. Yeah, they have. I'm really pleased with that. So, um, kind of back to some live streaming tips, for like church services, and this, you got to have people, headphones are important, because people that don't have a good sense of how to deal with the sound issues, you'll get, they don't have headphones. The speakers are coming in to the microphone, so you're getting feedback, and that ends up, for people that aren't experienced at that ends up being a huge issue. And whenever I have guests on and stuff, I say you got to use headphones. It's just, there are ways of dealing with that where you're not using headphones, but for the most part, I always tell my guests it's just easier if you use headphones, earbuds, whatever you got, so that we're not getting that feedback coming in, because that's probably the number one issue you get with people coming in. And and unfortunately, when we were live streaming the church services, the pastor did not own a set of headphones or nothing, no earbuds, no nothing, so it's kind of like we were constantly dealing with feedback issues, and it was just, that was a real challenge there. And it was kind of like, just go out and buy a cheap set of headphones. I mean, come on.
Was there any editing involved while you were doing the church service? Especially, I don't really care for feedback or echo.
Yeah, well, it was live, so there not much you could do. So, um, for the recorded videos that we did for the music, when we did that, then I would go in and actually edit them out, because there's, the time when they're kind of warming up and stuff like that. I just edit that stuff out and kind of clean it up a little bit, but minimal editing, because it was, it's a lot of work to produce an hour church service, because you're putting all this stuff together, and so there was a fair amount of time invested in that. So we really didn't edit, and I had the recordings, but nobody really asked for the recordings. They were either there or they weren't, and that was kind of how we did that. But a lot of churches will actually, and it's easy to do. Live webinars, Zoom, everybody allows you to save the recordings, and so you find somewhere to store those. And a lot of small churches now are putting their videos online for people that can't make the service, and people can tune in during the week, and so that's a good tip too. Actually, is and then if you're doing that, then you can edit it a little bit if you want. It just depends on how much time you want to spend editing. I I do a lot of editing. I find it to be somewhat tedious on some things, and so I will do some macro type editing, but trying to get, removed ums and ahs and every one of those. There are some ways to automate that, but it can be a very tedious process to do significant amounts of editing. So, and I
What
feel for like a church service, people aren't really expecting that.
what do you use for editing?
I mainly, well, two things. One, I mainly use Camtasia, and Camtasia probably works better on a PC than it does on a Mac, but they've really improved their Mac version. Um, the big one that people use on on a Mac, and I'm drawing a blank on it, is Telestream's. What's the name of their software? But they've had some real problems, and I found that Camtasia works quite well on a Mac, and their feature parity between the PC version is actually quite good. So it's not as sophisticated as Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere, and I have Final Cut Pro also, but Final Cut Pro editing takes a lot of time. I can go into Camtasia and do some quick editing and make it look good and post things up, and so it's a good tool for that. If you really want a lot of sophisticated editing, then something like Premiere or Final Cut Pro is the way to go. But there's a big learning curve there, and you do have to have a lot of CPU power to use those things, because it you know it'll suck up a lot of your CPU. All the CPU you can let it have.
I do have Premiere, haven't used it, but I got it because I didn't want to buy Photoshop. I didn't want to have I wanted Photoshop, but I didn't want to buy the reoccurring license. So I got
Right.
Photoshop Elements, and with that
Uh-huh.
came Premiere, and that was like $80, maybe 75.
Premiere Elements, which is
Yeah,
a light version of Premiere. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the same thing. You just got to know where your tools are. So if you're familiar with Photoshop or Premiere, you just got to look. You got to put in some effort to find your tools, but they're all
Right.
still there.
Yeah. It's missing, Premiere Elements is missing a few of the really sophisticated things, but for 90, probably 99% of the people out there editing, you don't use those tools. I mean, I like to, think that I can go into Final Cut Pro and do all these really fancy things, and Final Cut Pro and Premiere are, pretty similar to the features they offer. And so you can do a lot of really razzle dazzle stuff, but most of us are never going to do that. We're going to go in and, edit out things where we maybe we're coughing or inadvertently picked our nose on the screen or something like that. I'm sorry about that, but I just kind of to give you an idea, but something embarrassing, but for the most part, your beginning or your end, chopping stuff off there, or awkward silences, stuff like that is the vast majority of the editing you're going to do. So doing color corrections and all that stuff, really sophisticated stuff, most of us, for what we're putting out there, are never going to do that. So a lot of that stuff like Camtasia, Premiere Elements and stuff works just fine for a lot cheaper than the higher end stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I like things that I can make work for me. Sometimes I get so used to things, like I was told going to design school, I was told that I should only upgrade every 5 years because I should really put in an effort to learn the tools I have before I move on. So that's why I got Elements, because I only have to update it when I'm ready, and I don't have to go with the reoccurring license.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a good editing program, and like I say, most people aren't going to need the full version of Premiere. Premiere Elements will do just fine for the vast majority of the people out there. So.
That's great. So I wanted to share my screen one more time and let people know, but I should actually share my screen first and let people know that OneStream Live is offering a 20% off discount. So if you use this coupon, Live Space or Live Spaces 20, so it's valid through the 25th. So I think people should jump on that because I love the program. And with LinkedIn integrated, oh, I'm happy. I am so happy.
Got everything I need. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
you got any other tips for live streaming your church service? Did you use any graphics program besides Photoshop? Are you a fan of Canva?
Pretty much, yeah. Canva, and there's some clones of Canva out there, but and I've bought some through AppSumo, but I found that nothing really works quite as well as Canva. So I suck it up and pay the Canva Pro fees because I found, there are a few annoying things about Canva, but for the most part, it does a lot of my online design for graphics and stuff like that quite well. So I find Canva is really the good tool. And like I say, I got some other ones, but I don't use them nearly as much as Canva. So that's one area where I'll pay their annual fee to be the pro member. So that was a lot of what I did stuff in Canva, for our background graphics. There are some services out there you can buy, the lyrics, and you can buy some motion graphics and or download, services you can subscribe to where you can download this stuff, and that makes it interesting to have some motion graphics and stuff like that. And it's all licensed stuff, so you don't run into copyright violations. You always want to, if you're posting stuff up online, especially if you're going places like YouTube and any place like that, you want to have licensed stuff that you're not going to get your video censored due to copyright violations. So that's a big deal. Music you use, anything like that. Now, somebody singing, in an off-key voice, from the small church, you're probably not, going to get copyright violation on that. But if you use recorded music and stuff like that, then certainly you want to use licensed stuff that is not going to get you into copyright violation. situation. And I got some tips for, too, just a little bit that I can touch on now that most churches are meeting again, and I would hope that most of them are in person. People have kind of kept up. Even the small churches have kind of kept up the live streaming. If we've got some time, I can just kind of touch on some of the tools that
Yeah,
people are
that'd be
using out
great.
there. Yeah, and it's just, I've seen some really simple stuff like people taking like an iPad and mounting it on a tripod and attaching a little bit better microphone and basically just live streaming from the iPad. Um, there's a tool out there that I like that works on iOS devices. I think it works on Android also. Is called Switcher Studio, and so it's it's that because I don't think OneStream Live works on mobile devices, does it?
It
Um,
does.
it does. Okay,
Yep.
then you could certainly set that up there. Um, so you
There's an
could
app
set
for
it up.
that.
Okay, so I wasn't aware of that. So you could set that up on your iPad or even your iPhone, and actually iPhones, they're a little bit smaller, but they tend to have better cameras than like an iPad. Um, so you could just set up your iPhone and stream directly from that if you have a good Wi-Fi connection. So that's one thing. If you want a little more sophistication, then you can go with like multiple cameras and something like a Hollyland Mars 400, 300, and that'll give you can take a camera and attach a Hollyland Mars device to that, and that'll give you 400 up to 400 feet of a wireless transmission to your laptop or whatever your device is. Um, I also use a device called a YOLO box from YOLO Live. Are you familiar with that? Um,
It sounds familiar.
yeah, it's a great little tool because you can stream into that, and then it'll stream out for you, and it acts as a device, so you can set it. It's got a screen on it, and you can set everything up there. So it is a streaming device that you can go. You can either record to an SD card, you can go Wi-Fi, or you can hardwire it into Ethernet. So it's got a lot of different capabilities. A little bit pricey. It runs the regular YOLO box runs about $800 or $900, and the
Wow.
YOLO box, Pro runs about 1,200 $1,300. So it's kind of pricey, but it's got a lot of capabilities and it gives you a lot of options. So what I've got is I've got my Hollyland Mars hooked up to my YOLO box, and then I can take the transmitter part of the Hollyland Mars, and I can attach that to something like my Canon M50 or a Sony ZV-1, and then so I can set this wireless live streaming device, set it up, whatever it is. And then so I got about 400 feet of range. I can get out there and with my camera. So you can actually set up then multiple cameras using the Hollyland Mars transmitting devices to a single receiver and bring that into your feed and send that out. And then you can use a camera switcher to switch back and forth between different camera angles. So you can see you can get kind of sophisticated on this. And
Are
but
you using a
it
switcher
really
on your phone while you're out?
I no, I am not right now. I Switcher Studio will allow you to do that, to switch back and forth between different, like an iPad so I've experimented with that, but I haven't really done that because I haven't had a need. But you can get multiple angles that way, and um, so it's I do have a camera switcher here in the office in my studio, but but for mobile, it's a little more challenging. You got to use some hardware devices to do that. But for a church where where you're setting up relatively static, you can get multiple camera angles, and it's all within, the realm of possibility, even for a relatively small church, to do a pretty sophisticated type of production of the church service, and just enhance people. I mean, say you're an invalid and you can't get out to church on Sundays, but you still want to participate. Now you can tune in, and you got that, and you don't have to be isolated, or for some reason you can't make the church service. The recordings are there. So, and so for a modest budget, and I'm not talking free, but and you can do this really cheap, but you can have even a fairly sophisticated setup for a relatively modest budget for a church. And you're still not going to be Grace Community Church with 100 people on their AV crew, but yeah. but even for a small church, there's a lot of technology out there that you can use to really produce a really nice service for people that can't be there. And really, that's what it boils down to, is with church, we're trying to reach out to people with God's word. And so however we do that, taking advantage of the technology to get that out to people that can't make the church service for one reason or another, you know that is really the mission of the church. And so it's a good investment, is what I would say. Even if you're a really, really small church, there's stuff you can do that you can reach out to people and have that outreach. So an iPhone and a tripod, with a wire, if you can get a wireless connection or a good cell connection, you can reach out to people with it. So the technology, there's a range of technology. You can go from Hollywood all the way down to broadcasting your church service on an iPhone and everything in between. It's the capabilities are there, and so there's really no excuse for a church not to do live streaming,
Yeah.
unless
You
you got
know,
somebody that's total let up.
when I first heard that you were live streaming your church service, I just knew that your church was going to have a YouTube channel and maybe a podcast. So that
Yeah.
was that's just where
You
my
know,
mind goes.
no, and that would be good. It's we didn't get that far, and I probably should have. There wasn't much demand for that, but sure, if you're going to do outreach, setting up a YouTube channel is free. I mean, and or Facebook. You can store those videos on there, and people can just log on and watch them during the week. Um, and that's
Yeah.
part of the outreach. And so folks should consider that. So that's a very good point. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
So one of the things I like about OneStream Live is that you can replay videos as live. So if you have a service on Sunday or Wednesday, you can have that play throughout the week as live. So anybody can just catch the service. So
Yeah, that's nice. Log on and do that. Yeah. So, um, yeah, I've forgotten about that capability too. So, yeah, OneStream has really got a lot of good stuff going on. And
yeah, it's one of my favorite
I'm
things
just,
about
yeah.
them.
And I'm just so excited that they did I was so excited to see this week that they got the LinkedIn finally worked out. It's like, yes, the final piece of the puzzle.
So not only that, when you need to use your phone to live stream, you can do that. I mean, you don't know how many times. It's only happened 3 times, but my computer decided that it needed to what's it called? It needs to get new programs or something like that. It needs to download something, and it just cuts
Update.
off.
Yeah.
Yep, it needed
Yeah.
to update.
Yeah.
So
I'm
it
going to update
updated
now.
itself.
So we're just going to shut down everything for you. And yeah, tough luck. Yeah.
It has done that 3 times. When I'm using OneStream, I set up everything the day before, and luckily I got the app, and I came on, and I was able still to multi-stream to all my places. So I was like, whew, I felt lucky.
Well, I'm gonna go back and look at that the iPhone app and stuff like that and experiment with that a little more because I get out and about a lot for my consulting business and I do some some technical for my work as a hydrogeologist. I do some broadcasts, some training, and so so getting out and live streaming from the field is really a cool capability. And you go to a in-person conference and being able to live stream from there too, and just do some on-the-spot interviews with folks and all fun stuff and just gets you more exposure and if OneStream can make that happen, that's just awesome. So
You've only did this once, and I told you that you should call it Field Trips with Tom, but I have been hoping that you do it some more. So I know you got a conference coming up, so I'm looking forward to that.
yeah, I'm working on that. I'm getting my everything set up. Um, I got my little portable studio in a Pelican case, so I can lock it up and it'll handle being on the plane. And it's got microphones and a screen and the camera and everything all in this little studio in a Pelican case. It locks up nice and tight. It's secure, and so we're going to take that out to California here in another week and a half and see how my little portable studio works. It'll be an experiment, so we'll see. But even then, I'll have a backup plan. So you always got to have a backup plan if you're going live.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, my desktop just shut down, and I had my phone, and luckily everything was already set up because I probably didn't know how to set it up on my phone. I just knew how to push the button to make
Yeah,
it start.
that's right. And I've done stuff with you where I was out. Remember, we were out. I was looking at a well, and I was out one day, and we had our meeting, and I was just live stream from out in the field where I was looking at a water well, and out in the middle of nowhere, we live streamed in and had a good conversation. It's amazing the technology that we have at our disposal, and I just we probably don't take advantage of all the features. OneStream has a lot of features that I got to go back and explore some of them because I know there's things I'm not tapping into. So
Yeah. I told them that I wanted to have like a OneStream Live certification, like they take me through a class so I can make sure I'm using it to the best of its abilities. So, yeah.
I would recommend that. There's more people doing that. Where you can do actually Camtasia that I mentioned earlier. They got a little certification you can go through and a bunch of classes and you get a certificate at the end. But and some people like the certificates. I'm kind of so on it, but the fact that you've gone through and you got all the basic working knowledge, you understand all the features, is really a high point for doing a certification thing where you kind of look at everything. So I think more software tools should really do that, where you have certified users, and then if you're a certified user, that helps out their technical support too, because you can set up a community of people that are certified users. They've learned everything about it, and they can help answer questions too.
Yeah.
And so it really enhances, support and helping, newbie users out or people that have questions. People that are trained by the software company itself. Um, it can be it's a great tool. So users helping other users is really the most awesome technical support there is, and all technical support for a company gets bogged down sometimes, and their response times can vary. It's just kind of the way it is, and but having a community of people that may have seen similar problems, you can turn to them and it may be a relatively simple question. Clear your cache, and oh, yeah, forgot about that. Yeah. Oh
I
yeah,
totally
that.
forgot about that.
Yeah. But I'm the same way. It's kind of like, oh, you know, duh, I should have done that. You just need somebody to whack you up alongside the head and remind you that you should have done that early on, and kind of instead of trying to do all the other geeky solutions. So I'm all for, more software programs having uh, a certification program.
Yeah. Oh, I want to show everyone this one more time that OneStream Live is offering a 20% off discount. Use the coupon code Live Spaces 20, and it's valid to the 25th of April. So, want you guys to know about this. This I want to say it's rare because you don't know too many software companies offering discounts right now. So, wanted to let you guys know that that's out there. Thomas, you have any more tips before we go?
Yeah. I think I covered pretty much everything. I'm just looking at my notes here, and yeah, I think I covered pretty much everything I wanted to talk about here. And like I say, this session was really geared towards small to medium sized churches. The capabilities, and not the really big churches. So, that's they have a lot of sophisticated people that can really do some Hollywood productions. But we want even small churches, because I'm here in Tennessee. We got a lot of these really small country churches, but even a small country church, there's no excuse anymore not to stream your services and have God's word reach everybody. Whether you can make it to church or not. I mean, some people have to work on Sundays, sometimes, and that's just kind of how it is. But we can use the tools to spread God's word even to the people that can't make it to the church service, because the technology is there for that.
Yeah. I missed some comments, so let me share that with you now. Physis says for the Switcher Studio users, you can connect SS with OneStream Live as well. It was one of the most demanded third-party apps we have to work on, and
Oh, okay.
she says that
Is
that's
she
an
from
awesome
Switcher
suggestion.
Studio? Is she from
Visit
Switcher Studio?
Visit works with OneStream.
Oh, okay. Okay. So OneStream and Switcher Studio work together. That's awesome.
I just learned
Um,
something new.
yeah, I did too. So that's awesome, because Switcher Studio is great on the iPhone and stuff. It's a good little tool. So the fact that they work with OneStream, I'll explore that in more detail. So thanks for that comment. That's awesome.
She also says that that's an awesome suggestion, Erica and Tom. We are working on something like that. And I think she's talking about having the
Certification.
yep, certification.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Yeah. There you go.
Hooray. Because I would definitely take that class. I would proudly display my certificate on all my socials. So yeah.
I, I would take the class too. So, like I say, I'm going to be moving off of my other multi-streaming solutions and going to OneStream now that they got the LinkedIn integration down. I like OneStream, and that was the only thing that was holding me back from using them all the time. So I'll be getting rid of some of those other unnamed competitors. Who we all know who they are, but
All right, Thomas. So hydrogeologist, church live streamer, event host. What else is next for you?
I do a bunch of training and stuff on the technical stuff. So that's what I do. I do a weekly show on groundwater. That's got a really, I got a narrow focus, but it's fun, and that's what I like and do. But I love the technology, so this is good. I was glad to come on and just share my insights for whatever it's worth. And I've and last little bit of advice, don't be worried about learning things the hard way. I think I've learned everything the hard way. So, if you do it wrong, just learn from it, move on, and do it right next time, and that's how we get experience. I've
True.
done so many things wrong that it's just kind of like I just it's just kind of natural. So you just go with the flow, and we fix it next time. And there's just one more way I can't do it. So
Fizza has one more comment. Basically, OneStream Live is compatible with any third-party app, Switcher Studio, Woza, Ecamm, and any other. And I think it's because of that button that we saw earlier. It says Custom RTMP.
yes,
Yeah.
probably, yeah, that would be my guess. So
Yeah. I like that they don't
yeah.
try to hold me back with what I want to live stream. Some people say you can only do so many channels at one time, but with that custom RTMP, you can stream anywhere. I mean, they say that you can stream to 40 plus platforms. That plus is for that custom RTMP.
Yeah, as long as you can make that handshake between with the RTMP stream key, as long as you got that capability, then that's a great tool, and it works quite well. I've gone into some weird places too using a custom RTMP key, and it works quite well.
Yep, love that. Well,
Yeah.
Thomas Ballard,
And I will say one thing too that I did notice that Ecamm Live now also has a native integration with OneStream. So
yep,
so that's relatively new, I think, because I just noticed
it
it.
is.
So that's all good. That's all good too, because I'm an Ecamm Live guy, and
So
I've been
now
with
all I
Ecamm
need
Live.
from Ecamm is for them to work with PCs, and then all will be right with the world.
Probably not going to happen. I don't think they're going to go that route. But I've used them since their very beginning, and before their very beginning, actually, when they had the Skype recorder. Uh, so it's a great tool if you're a Mac user and for live streaming. So there you go.
Most likely will never buy another Mac again, but I'm still got my fingers crossed for Ecamm working with PCs.
Well, you never know. Nothing's impossible, I guess. So.
Yeah, maybe they heard me today, and maybe they're thinking about it. It doesn't hurt to ask.
Got to talk to Ken and Glenn about that. The twins, they're the ones responsible. So they put some pressure on them. They might make it happen. So.
Yeah. Oh, Fizza says that's right. All you need to do is to enter your username and password, and Ecamm will connect with OneStream Live. Oh, there you go.
Just right there on a drop down menu. So very easy. So I like
Yeah.
it.
I like that they make things easy for me. Well, okay,
Yeah.
Thomas, I've held you here for over an hour, and I really do appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your time with us.
Well, thank you very much for having me on, and hopefully you got something out of it.
Yeah, very great conversation. You know, I can go on about this for another hour or so.
We probably could. Yeah, we probably could. Yeah. All right. Have a great weekend.
You too.